I, Brian Tracy, have watched ordinary people transform entire trajectories when they changed just one thing. They stopped negotiating with their decisions and began to honor their own commitments. This thesis is practical and concrete. If you introduce 3 daily habits, a non-negotiable start, a deep work window, and an end-of-day review and decision, your mind stops depending on how you feel and starts obeying your word. It's a quiet change, but a decisive one. Close doors, protect focus, execute first. This is the bridge between the person who thinks and the person who produces. Now, before executing, let's identify the actual internal enemy that sabotages your progress. Because if you don't name it, it will retake the wheel when your energy fades. The enemy is not your boss, not your family, not the economy. The enemy is self-generated distraction, the elegant excuse, the endless hunt for validation before acting. You procrastinate because you leave each decision open to debate. Each morning, you ask your mood whether today you will follow through. You value others' opinions more than your own standard, and you confuse activity with progress. That is the loop that keeps you stuck. You jump from notification to notification. You say there was no time. You justify that the day got complicated, but the day does not get complicated. Your focus does when you fail to declare priorities or close doors to distractions. I want you to visualize something simple. Your brain repeats what you reward. If you reward postponement with momentary relief, your brain will give you more postponement. If you reward execution with visible marks of progress, your brain will give you more execution. Identify the pattern. You delay, you feel relief, you distract yourself, you act, you feel discomfort, self-respect grows, and discipline feeds on self-respect. When you follow through on what you say, your self-confidence rises and the volume of doubts falls. When you break your word, your self-confidence drops and your inner noise increases. That is why change begins with small victories repeated and recorded. With that said, here is a micro ritual of 3 steps you can perform today, without waiting for perfect conditions, without drama, without excuses. First, a conscious opening of 7 minutes. Place your phone out of reach, breathe deeply for 1 minute, and write a single actionable intention in 10 words or less, starting with a verb. Examples: do 40 push-ups, read 10 meaningful pages, advance 1 page of my project. Second, list 3 priorities, in verb, subject, object form. Call 3 clients, write 1 journal page, prepare a healthy meal. Third, your first non-negotiable movement, at least 10 minutes. Within the first 30 seconds, get going. Don't overthink. Don't rearrange your room. Don't clean your inbox. Activate the movement that anchors your day. Now, a key observation: resistance shows up in the first seconds. Your mind will offer you reasonable alternatives, false urgencies, micro-tasks promising relief. Remind yourself of the base rule. I decide first, react later. Act, then organize. Execute, then respond. Decide, then adjust. This short triad will pull you out of internal chatter and fix your focus on the task. Don't negotiate with your initial decisions. If today you decided to read 10 pages, read 10 pages. If you decided to walk 20 minutes, walk 20 minutes. The size may vary. The consistency must not. I, Brian Tracy, learned this when my life seemed a sum of heavy tasks without direction. I had no titles or money, but I discovered I could build self-esteem by fulfilling 1 minimal unit each day. I called it the daily brick. 1 brick today, another tomorrow, another the next day. No drama, no heroics, no publications. Over time, those bricks built a wall of habits that protected me from mediocrity. The formula is simple and demanding. Decide 1 unit. Fulfill it without exceptions. Record it with a visible mark. Grounded diagnosis of the internal enemy. 1 procrastination out of fear of imperfection. You wait for a clean window, and when it doesn't come, you resign yourself. Antidote: always execute a short window between 20 and 40 minutes. 2. External validation as fuel. You act if someone sees you and deflate when there's no reaction. Antidote, a private compliance marker. A check mark you make when you close each unit. 3. Cognitive disorder. You enter the day reacting, and you end it unfocused. Antidote, a starting anchor, a simple mission, immediate movement. Returning to the micro ritual, let's ground the details, so you can do it today. Step 1. Conscious opening of 7 minutes. Sit somewhere plain, back straight, feet firm. For 1 minute, breathe slowly, counting in and out by 4. Then write your intention for today, in present tense and beginning with a verb, using the formula verb, object, measure. Write 1 page, read 10 pages. Practice 40 minutes. Don't go to grand, go to concrete. Once you finish the statement, place your phone outside the room so it won't tempt you. Your attention is a strategic weapon, protect it as such. Step 2. Minimal list of 3 priorities. Here's a common trap. Fill the page with 10 things and feel productive. Resist it. Write 3. No 4. No 5. Only 3. One that moves your professional life, one that strengthens your body or mind, and one that resolves an inevitable task. The triangle of progress: impact, identity, hygiene. Impact is what moves the real needle. Identity is who you are becoming. Hygiene is what prevents future cost. Keep the phrases short, with clear verbs and concrete nouns. If a priority doesn't fit in one line, it is not a priority. It's a project needing subtasks. Step 3. First non-negotiable move. Here's where most people fail, because they confuse thinking with doing. You will get started in less than 30 seconds after you write. Open the book, grab the pen, put on your shoes, dial the number, 10 minutes at minimum, or until you finish the unit you defined. If your mind asks you to check your phone, repeat internally, now I execute, later I review. If an interruption appears, respond with a polite phrase, and postpone. I'm in a block. I'll message you later. Those who respect themselves protect themselves. Those who protect themselves progress. Here's a micrometric to accompany you today. At the end of your first movement, draw a small square in your notebook and write the action completed with its number. 1. A visible mark anchors progress. Your brain loves evidence. This isn't childish, it's behavioral engineering. Visible mark, clear language, closed unit, execution rhythm, compliance rhythm, growth rhythm. This repeated triad will pull you out of reactive mode and give you a tangible first victory before the world pushes you toward the urgent. Now let's talk about the cost of not doing it. When you open your day without an anchor, you become prey to noise. The phone dictates priorities. Messages swallow you. Other people's urgencies replace your project. The afternoon ends, and you tell yourself you were busy.
I were busy.
You were scattered. Distraction is costly. It kills confidence, postpones your goals, and drains your patience. On the other hand, the habit of starting with a single non-negotiable action trains you to operate in all conditions. Tough day, small action, free day, bigger action,
Small.
flexible consistency, firm identity, clarity. With that clear, let's handle typical objections. If you say you don't have time, shrink the measure. Instead of 30 pages, read 10. Instead of running an hour, walk 20 minutes. Instead of writing a chapter, write a page. If you say you lack energy, use a starter boost. Cold water on your face, 2 minutes of nasal breathing, 5 squats. Wake the system, ignite the engine, turn on attention. If you say you are bored, shorten the unit, but keep it. The frequency sustains the habit. Variety sustains the mind. Small, constant, measurable. I want to propose a concrete decision today. Write in your comments the time at which you will begin your non-negotiable action tomorrow, and which action it will be. No speeches, no ornaments, no empty promises. Write one line with your measurable decision. Start at 6 reading 10 pages. Start at 7, walking 20 minutes. Start at 8 writing 1 page. Committing publicly raises your standard, your word in public, your record in private, your progress in practice. With this micro ritual, you will notice something in less than a week. The friction of starting diminishes. Your tolerance for discomfort rises. Your respect for your word increases. That changes how you speak to yourself and how you stand before your day. You go from asking permission to giving yourself instructions, from excuse to offering evidence, From wanting to feel motivated, to demanding that you operate. Operative identity, shielded attention, early execution. Once that base is in place, the second habit comes naturally, reserving a deep work window that will multiply your results. Before moving on, record this master rule. Your life follows the trail of fulfilled decisions. If you complete one daily unit, results accumulate. If you break your word, frustration accumulates. There is no neutrality. Each day you lay a brick or remove one. You choose. Close doors, protect focus, execute first. That is the direct, demanding, and respectful way to build a day that supports you. Many believe that focus is won when there is silence, but the truth is that silence is manufactured when you lock out what does not matter. Before entering the 4 laws that will sustain your 3 habits, I ask something simple and tough at the same time. Allow one idea to dominate your day. Without that, any technique dilutes. Decide quickly, cut noise, do what is essential. First, the door and the lock. Most leave the door open just a crack, and through that gap slip micro interruptions that kill impulse. The law is simple and operable. When you declare your non-negotiable action, or your deep work window, close the door on indecision, and put a mental lock. I call this the master lock. It is not a pretty metaphor. It is a commitment that eliminates internal debate. Master lock means you no longer argue about whether to comply. You only debate how you begin in less than 30 seconds. Verification is concrete. During the window, no phone checks, no opening emails, no unplanned conversations. If the door stays open, the mind negotiates. If you close it, the body acts. How do you measure that the lock is in place? Count your micro deviations. Mark each time your hand seeks the phone, or your mind jumps to another task. The clear goal: 0 deviations in the first 20 minutes, and at most 2 deviations through the whole session. If you claim your work demands availability, design explicit exceptions. For example, a quick message check at the end of the window, not during. If you work in a shared space, wear noise-canceling headphones. Place a do not interrupt sign and notify those who need to know that you will be focused for 40 to 60 minutes. The world respects your boundaries better when you respect them first. Close doors, stop leaks, guard impulse. Second, the workshop and the tool. In a serious workshop, every tool has its place. Every surface is clear, so you can work without friction. Your desk, your notebook, your screen, your apps should act like a workshop, not a storage room of tasks. The rule says this before you start. Leave only the tool you need visible, and remove everything else. If you're going to write, open just the document, and hide all other tabs. If you're going to study, open your book to today's page, and have your notebook ready. Do not stack your pending to-do notebook on top. If you're going to sell, keep your calling list and script in front, not your email inbox. The measure is concrete. Track the startup time, from when you sit, until you produce the first measurable unit. A realistic goal for 1 week of practice. Reduce that startup time by at least 20%. If today it takes you 10 minutes to truly start, bring it to 8 or less. With 2 well-applied weeks, bring it down to 5. If you say your home is chaotic, and you cannot order, then build a portable kit with your essential tool, and go somewhere neutral. Library, yard, parked car. If your computer distracts, use full screen mode, and disable notifications. The truth is simple. The tool you see directs your attention. Your attention directs your day. Prepare your environment. Clear your surface. Display the essential. Third, the compass and the direction. Without a north, a ship may move a lot and reach nowhere. This law connects discipline with real progress. If everything matters, then nothing matters. If one thing matters, everything else arranges itself. You will pick one central metric for your deep work window, a number that defines tangible progress. If you write, count useful words or polished paragraphs. If you study, pages understood with a brief note. If you sell, effective calls or proposals sent. If you strengthen your body, strict reps, or continuous minutes practiced between 20 and 60 minutes. The compass is that number. The direction is moving it steadily. The measurement is obvious. Write down the starting number and the ending number. Note the difference. If by day's end the difference is 0, you did not navigate, even if you felt tired. If you claim your work is creative and cannot be measured, then define clear deliverables, a completed outline, a finished scene, a practiced piece. Creativity without direction is smoke. Creativity with direction yields work. If you say you have 10 competing priorities, then you actually have none. You must accept that you cannot make all things matter. Choose what matters. Choose one that truly moves the needle. Then let the others wait for their turn. Decide on one direction, measure your progress, and insist until it becomes solid. A garden does not maintain itself. If you do not remove the weeds, soon they will compete with the plants and steal their nutrients. Your attention is that soil, and every notification is an invasive root. The rule is simple. Every morning before your non-negotiable action, turn off alerts from social networks and messaging apps, and leave only one emergency channel if necessary. During your focus window, keep 0 applications open that are not related to the task. Later, in a designated moment, clean up what is urgent in one short block of 15 to 30 minutes. The measurement is direct. Count both internal and external interruptions and write them down. Fewer than 3 during the entire session is a good standard. Fewer than 2 is solid. 0 is excellence. If you say you must answer immediately, then communicate your response times to your team. I will be answering messages after my focus window. If you say you get distracted by anxiety, then prepare a capture sheet beside you to write down any thought that comes up and return to it afterward, not in the middle. This is not rigidity for the sake of control. It is protection of a valuable crop. Less noise, more progress, better mood. These 4 laws support your 3 habits with a coherent structure. The lock removes debate. The workshop reduces friction. The compass turns effort into progress. And the garden keeps clean the ground where your attention grows. To make sure these do not remain just good intentions, add small weekly tests. In 7 days you will notice less friction when starting, consistency in your central metric, and a decrease in interruptions. Record every session with 3 simple data points: minutes completed, progress on the metric, and number of distractions. Check mark at the end and 1 short line of learning. With 3 lines you build a record. With a record you build identity. Now let's talk about rhythm peaks before each session to seal both memory and body. Before activating your master lock, say your intention for the day out loud in 10 words. Short phrase, concrete action. Measurable goal. Before sitting down in your workshop, remove one object that does not belong to the session and place it far away. Physical gesture, focused brain, aligned environment. Before looking at your compass, write in the margin the number you want to move and the amount you will commit to between today and the next review. Clear measurement. Defined route, active control. Before protecting your garden, deliberately turn off one notification that usually steals your time and look at that act for what it truly is. An exercise of your judgment. Close distractions. Strengthen habits, honor your word. Let's anticipate objections with measurable answers. If today you are too tired for a long session, commit to a shorter version of 20 minutes and record a minimum advance of 1 unit. If today your environment is noisy, use headphones, a visible timer, and a note that says "Do not disturb." Measure if the number of distractions dropped by at least 1 compared to yesterday. If you struggle because you do not see results, then choose a more immediate metric that gives you evidence the same day. In sales, real conversations. In study, pages underlined with notes. In writing, paragraphs completed with meaning. You need close evidence, so your mind connects effort with achievement. Decide simply, execute briefly, measure clearly. Do not forget to support your rhetoric with small physical practices that make the difference when your willpower falters. Change your posture at the start of the session. Straighten your back, plant your feet, and look at your main tool. Drink water before sitting to remove light sleepiness. Breathe in 4 counts through your nose for 1 minute to stabilize your state. These are details, not endless ceremonies. They remind your body that the time has come to produce, not to drift. This small routine reduces initial resistance and increases the percentage of sessions that start on time. Notice how the laws help each other. When you activate the master lock, a clean workshop comes naturally, because there is no longer a debate about opening new tabs. When you use the compass, the garden stays protected because every interruption competes against a number you already decided to move. When you clean the garden, the lock becomes stronger because the temptation to open the door decreases. This chain effect is the reason why a disciplined person seems to have more time. In reality, they do not have more time, they have fewer leaks. And having fewer leaks gives you back the hours that were already yours. Sometimes you will hear a voice saying this makes you rigid. It does not make you rigid, it makes you reliable. It makes you someone who can promise yourself 1 hour of real work between 6 and 7, or between 7 and 8, and keep that promise. Flexibility comes after you have done what is essential. You can move the window on special days, as long as it remains within the range you defined. What is not negotiable is the existence of the window itself. If today life forced you to improvise, then adjust the duration but do not cancel it. 15 serious minutes produce more than 90 scattered minutes. Decide less, fulfill more, build better. You have heard for years that you need balance, yes, but balance between your real life and your chosen life, not between your attention and the noise. When you prioritize your deep work window, you are not abandoning anyone. On the contrary, you become more useful, more predictable, more consistent. No one suffers because you are focused for 1 hour. Many suffer because you never are. Internal order, external clarity, sustained impact, that is the kind of balance that pays dividends. If you wonder when you will see results, here is a concrete framework. In 7 days you will lower your friction at the start, and feel more respect for your own signature. In 14 days, you will have a central metric with a clear trend. In 21 days your family or your team will notice you are less reactive and more resolute. In 30 days, you will surprise yourself by how one small number moved each day changes your entire horizon. This forecast is not an inflated promise. It is personal statistics repeated thousands of times. Work with the system, measure with honesty, adjust without drama. If this message helps you and you want to keep receiving structures, you can apply tomorrow. Subscribe. We do not sell smoke here. We work with habits that are fulfilled and numbers that prove it. And since you made it this far, I ask for one interaction that will positively commit you to your own process. Write in the comments your central metric for tomorrow's window and the exact number you are going to move. Few words, much precision. For example, 500 useful words, 10 pages understood, 5 effective calls, 30 minutes of clean practice. Also share which weed you are going to pull today to protect that garden. By writing it down, you are telling yourself that your day has an owner. You close doors. You prepare the workshop. You fix the compass. You clean the garden. With those 4 laws, you will sustain your 3 habits and start living something that many mistake for luck. It is not luck. It is structure. It is focus. It is fulfillment. And when your word becomes law for yourself, your life stops being a series of attempts and becomes a line of evidence. Decide, execute, measure. That is the path of a builder. Many believe that structure is a straitjacket, but the truth is that a good protocol gives you margin, gives you air, gives you control. Let's go straight to the practical part. With a structure you can apply tomorrow without depending on motivation. The foundation is already there. 1 non-negotiable action at the start, 1 deep work window, and 1 closing with review and decision. Now you will turn those pieces into a protected routine, with clear when, where and how much, with starting triggers, planned barriers, clear alternatives, and 1 simple metric that gives you evidence. Decide approximate time. Define a fixed place, set a minimum duration, open the door, activate the lock. Move the compass, first guided start. When, in the first hour after waking up, before responding to messages, between 20 and 40 minutes. Where, a small and constant space, a clear desk or a corner of your home. If you share your house, use headphones and a dedicated chair that your brain associates with execution. How long? A minimum unit that can be completed in 1 sitting and leaves visible evidence. Trigger, a glass of water, 4-count breathing. Barriers expected: sleepiness, laziness, urgent tasks, alternative plan. If X, then Y. If you slept badly, then reduce the unit to 10 minutes and keep the frequency. If a real urgency appears, then execute a 3-minute micro-block and reschedule the full unit later. Metric. Mark the completed unit in your notebook with the date and one word of learning. Start simple, protect your start. Record progress. Second, focus window. When, between the second and fourth hour of the day. When your energy is stable. If your job requires fixed hours, place it so it does not collide with the inevitable. Clean your workshop, full screen mode, one visible tool only. How long? Between 40 and 60 minutes for the first 10 days, then increase to between 60 and 90, if your life allows it. Trigger, open the right document. Place a visible timer, wear headphones, expected barriers, notifications, interruptions at home or work, anxiety about other tasks, alternative plan. If interruptions come, respond with a standard phrase, and return after the block. If anxiety rises, write the thought on a capture sheet, and return to the task. Metric. Central number moved and distractions counted. Fewer than 2 is solid. 0 is excellence. Prepare the environment, close the leaks, produce real work. Third, closing with review. When, the last 10 minutes of your workday, before relaxing or moving into leisure, where, the same notebook where you mark your units. If you use an app, record it there, but always write one line by hand each day to reinforce identity. How long? Between 5 and 10 minutes. Trigger, stop the timer, stretch your shoulders, open the notebook. Expected barriers: fatigue, hurry, avoidance of truth. Alternative plan. If you arrive exhausted, then review the minimum initial action window. Lesson learned. If one day got out of hand, then write only one concrete correction for tomorrow. Metric. 3 questions answered honestly and 1 written decision for the next day. Close the cycle. Learn small. Decide in advance. Now outline the map according to your type of goal, so you can adjust the unit, the block, and the review. If your goal is physical, your initial unit can be body activation, with a minimum of 20 minutes of walking or push-ups. Your deep window is clean technique, between 40 and 60 minutes. Your review includes a short note of sensations and progress. If your goal is professional, your initial unit is a micro action that does not depend on others. Your deep window is dedicated to the single deliverable that brings the highest return. Your review records the number of real conversations or finished pages. If your goal is study, your initial unit is active reading of 10 pages, with brief notes. Your deep window includes recovery practice out loud and written concepts. Your review captures 3 ideas you can explain without looking at the text. In every case, the rule remains the same. Define your unit, protect your block, record evidence, anticipate common scenarios, and have your plan B and plan C ready, so you do not break the chain. Travel. If you are away from home, your initial unit becomes portable, push-ups with body weight or reading while in transit. Your deep window shortens to between 20 and 40 minutes, with a very clear deliverable, an outline, a script, or a call list. Mild illness. Lower intensity, but maintain frequency. Avoid heroics. Work emergency. Execute a 3-minute micro unit, so you do not lose your identity, and move the window to the first available space in the day. If there is no space, at least close with review and decision for the next day. Identity is protected by continuity. Smaller size, same frequency, same respect for your word. Do not rely on memory. Support yourself with a visible and simple system. A notebook, a table with 3 columns, minutes, metric, and deviations. Each day, only 3 lines. On Sundays, take 5 minutes to look at the previous week. What was maintained? Where did minutes leak away? What adjustment will you make to your environment? Use signals in your space. A card next to your screen, with your master triad: open, execute, close. Another card with your current central metric. A card with your identity statement. I am someone who gives himself instructions and follows them. You do not need a mural, you need few reminders, always visible. Technology serves you if you make it obey. Set silent alarms for your blocks. Activate focus mode on your devices. Remove unnecessary icons from the main screen. Define one single channel for real emergencies with key people and explain your response schedule to them. If you work with a team, share your focus windows so they can reach out during the gaps. When your environment knows when you are in production mode, social friction decreases. Fewer excuses, less resistance, fewer leaks. Here begins the identity reframing that changes your relationship with yourself, from reaction to creation, from asking permission to giving instructions, from variable performance to growing consistency. 3 statements that become true because you sustain them through practice and record. 1. I command the first hour of my day, and in that hour I build the foundation. 2. My attention is my strategic asset, and it is invested in blocks, not in fragments. 3. My decisions have an owner, and that owner is me, even when no one is watching. These sentences are not decorations. They are criteria. They are confirmed by your notebook, your minutes, and your metric. Silent authority, visible responsibility, self-direction in practice. Do not confuse identity with moods. A day with low energy does not cancel who you are. You only adjust the unit and protect the closure. A day with high energy does not give you permission to skip the review. It gives you permission to push the metric a bit further. Identity before emotion, structure before improvisation, evidence before opinion. With that order, your self-respect stops depending on spectacular results and rests on obedience to your word. Firm criteria, constant execution, fine adjustment. Add small contingency routines for idle minutes that usually get lost. Waiting in lines, commuting, 10 or 15-minute gaps. Define a set of pocket micro-actions. Review concepts on flashcards. Sketch ideas in 5 lines. Do breathing and stretches, or clean your trivial to-do list. Without opening social media, not every idle minute turns into gold, but 1 out of 3 already pays off. Recover time, slow the mind. Prepare the ground for the next real block. Seal the protocol with a weekly mini audit. 3 questions and 1 adjustment. How many days did you complete the 3 pieces? Initial action, deep window. Review, what was your average on the central metric? Which barrier appeared the most? And how will you block it next week? Make 1 adjustment, not 5. Change the block time, move the trigger earlier, simplify the unit, 1 adjustment per week, not 5. Massive changes fail. Small sustained adjustments become law. If you feel that discipline makes you rigid, remember why you want it. It is not to impress anyone. It is to be useful to what matters most. A family that feels your presence because your mind is not fragmented. A job that is more productive because your output increases. A body that is more reliable because you move it consistently. A mind that is clearer because your nightly closure cleans noise and prepares tomorrow. Inner order, external impact, practical serenity. That is what I call freedom. I want you to commit to your process and to this community of people who execute. Subscribe if you have not done so yet, and write in the comments 2 concrete data points that connect you with your own structure. 1. What will be your non-negotiable unit for tomorrow, and where will you do it? 2. What is your central metric for this week's deep window, and how much will you move it each day? Write few words and much precision. By naming it clearly and measuring it honestly, you stop living at the mercy of noise and begin to live under your own standard. Decide with intention, execute with focus, share with evidence, engrave the sequence in your mind, because it will accompany you for years. Open early with an action that defines you. Enter the block that moves you forward. Close with a review that makes you grow. Close doors, protect focus, execute first, lock the gate, organize the workshop, consult the compass, clean the garden, decide today, fulfill today, record today. That is the architecture of a well-built day, and a well-built day, repeated many times, is called a life worth living. Many believe that great change requires complex plans, but the truth is that one well-built morning, one protected day, And one night that learns are worth more than any perfect calendar. With this clear, tomorrow you will begin differently. You wake up, drink water, breathe silently for 1 minute, and sit with your notebook. You write an actionable intention in less than 10 words, starting with a verb, and including a measure. Read 10 useful pages, write 1 complete page, walk 20 minutes at a steady pace. Your phone stays outside the room. What you do in these first minutes decides who you obey, your excuses, or your word. Your word rules. Now set the scene for your first non-negotiable action. Keep the space simple. Clear desk, 1 tool in sight, dedicated chair. In less than 30 seconds, you are in motion. If you feel heavy today, do not argue with your mind, argue with the clock. Start now, even with a smaller version. 10 minutes of clean practice are worth more than an hour of dreaming. When you finish that unit, mark it in your notebook with the date, the action, and 1 line of learning. Check mark done. Evidence created. Identity reinforced. Close doors. Start early. Leave a trace. With that first victory, your day no longer drags. Prepare your deep window with a clear margin. If life allows it, place it between the 2nd and 4th hour of the day. If not, choose an afternoon period when the workload is reasonable. The key is not the exact hour, it is the respect for the block. Before starting, clean your desk, open only the document or main tool, and place a visible timer. Headphones if there is noise, notes out of sight, notifications off. Your mind understands signals. When it sees fewer objects, it thinks of fewer things. When it hears less noise, it goes deeper. When it has 1 tool, it produces more output. Prepare the environment. Adjust your body. Enter focus. Your central metric awaits. If you write, define a minimum number of useful paragraphs. If you study, pages understood with notes, concise. If you sell, real conversations or proposals sent. If you train your body, strict repetitions or continuous practice between 40 and 60 minutes. At the start of the block, write the number in the margin. At the end, write the new number. That difference is your real progress. Do not deceive yourself with the feeling of fatigue. Measure what counts. Decide on 1 thing, and move it consistently. Let the numbers tell your story. During the day, reality will test you. Requests will come. Urgencies will appear. Anxiety will show up. Prevent it with scripts and habits. If someone interrupts, say politely that you are in a block, and will respond later. If a task pops into your mind, capture it on a sheet beside you, and continue. If your body asks to move, stand up for 1 minute, breathe through your nose, and resume. Do not fight your environment. Organize it in your favor. Protect the window. Reduce leaks. Guard your drive. If at any moment you feel scattered, repeat the triad that brings you back to the center. Decide now. Execute now. Measure now. 3 words. 1 action. 0 excuses. Do not forget the basic care that sustains your focus. Water throughout the day. Food that does not make you sleepy. Short breaks between blocks. Walking 10 minutes outdoors at midday can restore clarity. Staying away from screens for a few minutes prevents your attention from fracturing. You do not need perfection. You need consistency. Simple movements, brief breaths, light adjustments, less noise, more clarity, better focus. This attention hygiene does not look glamorous online, but it pays in results. At night, close your rules. Before sitting on the couch or starting a series, take 5 minutes with your notebook. Ask yourself 3 questions. Did I complete my non-negotiable action? Did I protect my focus window and move my metric? What will I adjust tomorrow to do it better? Answer without makeup. If you failed, write the real reason and 1 small correction. Change the block time. Prepare the tool the night before. Inform your team of your response period. If you succeeded, check it off and raise your reasonable standards slightly for the next day. Honest closure, short learning, clear decision. That is where continuity is built. Before sleeping, prepare your decision for tomorrow. Non-negotiable action, defined with measure, deep window scheduled, tool selected. This small decision made in advance helps you wake up with less friction. While you sleep, your mind organizes the paths. When morning comes, you simply walk them. This small act reduces the cost of starting and strengthens your sense of mastery. Decide at night, execute in the morning, adjust at dusk. Rhythm of the day, rhythm of the week, rhythm of life. Your identity seal is built with phrases that practice makes true. My structure is my freedom. Today I do not fail myself. Do not frame them. Show them in your behavior. When you sit down to complete your unit, you are living the truth that your structure frees you. When you close with review, even when tired, you are proving that today, you do not fail yourself. Identity is not declared, it is supported. Less declaration, more action, better character. Let's tie everything together in a narrated guide for tomorrow morning, throughout the day, and before bed. Upon waking, water 4-count breathing, written intention with verb and measure, phone away, you sit down, activate the first unit between 10 and 20 minutes, if the day is heavy, or between 20 and 40, if it is normal. Finish, mark the check, write one line of learning, prepare the environment for the deep window, and move forward. In the window, one single tool, visible timer, headphones if needed, central number in front, you advance, record, count distractions, finish, stretch, close. At night, honest review, decision prepared in advance. If you miss one piece, do not insult yourself, correct one thing, and return to the sequence. Decide, execute, record. To prevent it from fading with time, add a pros checklist to repeat every night. Open the notebook, mark if you completed the initial action, write how many minutes, and what you learned. I look at the metric from my focus window, write down the number I moved, and note how many distractions appeared. I write one line with an adjustment for tomorrow. I prepare my main tool for the morning. I turn off unnecessary notifications, and leave one emergency channel open in case my family needs me. I fall asleep in peace, because tomorrow already has an owner. Measure, learn, decide. If one day life becomes disordered, protect your identity with a micro unit. 3 minutes of clean practice that keep the chain alive. Strict push-ups, a clear paragraph, review of flashcards, a key call. Not every day brings major progress, but every day can confirm who you are. Continuity over perfection, self-respect over ego, consistency over spectacle. That is the anchor. When the sea gets rough, in weeks with travel or events, adapt the form without breaking the essence. If you are in a hotel, turn the desk into your workshop. Choose one quiet hour, and close the inner door. If you must spend time with family, explain your focus window calmly, and make yourself more available afterward. If you share space with children, divide the window into 2 mini blocks of 20 to 30 minutes, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. What matters is that focus exists, not that it looks perfect. Responsible flexibility, living structure, personal standard. There is an elegant trap you will recognize, the trap of parallel projects that seem productive but do not move what truly matters. Here the compass saves you. If an activity does not feed your central number, postpone it until after the block. If a meeting does not affect the metric that make it asynchronous, or cut it out. If a tool entertains you more than it helps you, set it aside. You are not fighting curiosity, you are committing to purpose. Less filler, more substance, better work. If you work with a team, align expectations with your structure, share your focus times and response hours, respect the blocks of others, and promote clean meetings. They start on time, they end on time. Objective in the first sentence, agreements in the last. Personal discipline strengthens the group because it reduces noise and increases clarity. In clear environments, people perform better and emotional friction decreases. Collective order, simple communication, on-time delivery. Every Sunday take 5 minutes for a wide view. Look at your 7 records. Count how many days you completed the 3 pieces. Review the trend of your metric. Choose one barrier to block next week, one adjustment, small change, strong consistent. Do not rush to redesign the whole system. Every 7 days, tighten one screw, and get back on track. Accumulated progress does the rest. You might ask yourself how to sustain motivation in month 2 or 3. You do not sustain motivation, you sustain the system, and the system sustains motivation. When your notebook shows completed marks, when your metric rises little by little, when your nightly closure shows you that you learned something, motivation becomes a consequence. You stop waiting to feel in order to act, and you start feeling better, because you already acted. Action first, emotion after, identity always. Before closing, I invite you to commit both publicly and privately. Publicly, write 3 data points in the comments: the approximate hour of your non-negotiable action for tomorrow, the central metric of your deep window, and the single adjustment you will apply this week. Privately, write in your notebook the phrase that seals your standard, and repeat it every morning when you start, and every night when you close. My structure is my freedom. Today I do not fail myself. It does not promise magic, it promises mastery, and personal mastery pays with more stable results, healthier relationships, and a peace that does not depend on perfect circumstances. If this process helps you, subscribe and share your practical experience. Here we do not collect pretty phrases. Here we measure, we adjust, we deliver. I will read your comment with your specific commitment, and in number of minutes, pages, paragraphs, calls, few words, much precision, high responsibility, close doors, protect focus, execute first. With that sequence, your day stops pushing you and starts obeying you. And when your day obeys you, your life aligns itself. Decide with clarity, execute with focus, measure with honesty. That is the way.